Happy New Year to our higher education innovators. Thanks for joining us for our January topic, Resolutions for Change, Transforming Higher Education in 2025. Today, our guest is President David Scable. We'll explore his vision of taking Excelsior to the next level with regard to partnerships. This is an issue that David has been very passionate about for many years. He's been a leading voice on the need for the Department of Education to be more proactive in the mergers and acquisitions process. Let's kick 2025 off right with this discussion. Hi, David. Thanks for joining us today. Good to see you.
Wes, nice to see you as always. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. We're getting started in 2025, and that's the topic of our conversation today: is New Year's resolutions and what our institutions and our presidents are looking forward to in accomplishing in 2025. So let's just get started with that. What do you hope to accomplish at Excelsior this next year?
Well, so we've been building partnerships with a number of other institutions, and my view about the future of higher ed is that it's going to be all about partnerships, and those partnerships will have different forms, right? Some will be formal mergers or acquisitions. Others will be less formal partnerships around programs, around sharing back-end services, those kinds of things. But I think the partnership piece is going to be critical. Where we're going to differentiate, I think, from most partnerships is in establishing what I've been calling a constellation of institutions. And actually, it's not just higher ed institutions, it's employers, it's government agencies, et cetera. And so the idea is to really create a seamless ecosystem for students that is truly student-centric, and that would allow students to move between various institutions in whatever ways work for them, so that they can create their own academic experiences. So, for example, Excelsior is an online institution. And yet we have students who would really like to have short, intensive, in-person experiences, whether they're field study types of experiences, whether they're lab experiences in an intensive lab setting. And our students can't do it for a semester or for a year or for a 4-year commitment, but they can do it for a couple of weeks. And so we have been talking with partnering institutions about providing that kind of ecosystem where Excelsior students might spend a week or two at Paul Smith's College in the Adirondacks, or someplace like that where they're doing real hands-on work, and then they come back to their online studies, and then maybe semester later or a year later they do another hands-on experience.
Right.
We've been, and as I said, we've been talking to a number of schools about that, and there's a lot of interest in this because we think that it's an opportunity to attract students who otherwise haven't been interested, simply because of that modality difference, and at the same time really provide that opportunity for students to move around. It's also a way for employers to get engaged, to offer various kinds of experiences to students, and to come shopping for students in a larger format than from any one institution.
Right. Okay. You mentioned that early, that you could envision employers participating. Give us a vision of what that could look like for an employer partnering with Excelsior to source talent and also provide or potentially provide employees with a new interesting upskilling experience. What could that look like?
Well, so right now we're talking to 5 other institutions, and so let's say we have a constellation of 5 to 10 schools in 5 years from now. There are obviously a number of companies like Guild and others who have created that middle person niche where what they do is they provide services to employers to simplify their tuition reimbursement processes, and then they basically create portfolio of schools for the employers to choose from. But from the employer perspective, the employer is still choosing a school or choosing disparate schools for their employees. What I'm talking about is a unified system of institutions where the credits transfer, students don't lose anything in the transfer process. They don't lose money, they don't lose time. Some of these institutions already have strong employer relationships. They have research relationships with employers around particular areas. And so it would be an opportunity for employers to plug in and have much larger opportunities for their employees from essentially a single unified system rather than from a bunch of disaggregated schools.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So you're talking about multiple institutions of higher education that are providing experiences. So the pool of students is larger. And I love the idea of not ever wasting a credit hour. Having like seamless credit and working together within that, what you're calling a constellation. So tell us this, David. 2025, new year, new opportunities. Clearly, higher education is in a situation where higher education must adapt to technology and to changing times. We have a new Congress. We have a new administration that will, really push this. What do you see success looking like in 2025 for this constellation model that you're pushing? What would an accomplishment be that you would be satisfied with accomplishing in 2025 to advance this?
If we got 2 or 3 partnering schools where we jointly agreed to simplify curricular paths, make it easy for students to take advantage of various curricula, and to design much of the curriculum themselves, to create opportunities for employers to come in and influence curriculum development so that we make sure that the curricula dovetail with what employers need, but at the same time don't lose that breadth and scope that higher ed has been known for. And we start to really create this seamless ecosystem that I've been talking about. I think that would be a huge success for us.
How can the Department of Education help on this?
Well, one thing the department can do is to help simplify some of the partnership rules and regulations. Right now, for example, if schools want to formally affiliate, if they want to merge, it's an extremely long and difficult process. Now, there's a fine line here, right? Because you don't want to create a situation where schools recklessly partner or take on others, and it financially one school takes down both of them because it was a bad decision to begin with. So I think there's a lot of due diligence that needs to be done. But at the very least, in the past, the department would look at these potential affiliations or mergers or whatever it is, and kind of give a tentative thumbs up or thumbs down. They'd say, yeah, this looks okay. You should proceed. Unless something really unforeseen happens, we think this will be fine. It'll get approved. That's no longer the case, right? Schools now have to work through the entire process, hoping that somewhere in the end, the department says, okay, we're going to approve this. So I think more collaboration between the department and the institutions, and an early indication of approval or tentative approval would be really helpful.
Proactive engagement from the department would be invaluable in this process. Okay, all right, we can pursue that, I think, together, because I believe that many institutions are in the same position that you're in, where they're saying, hey, we need more feedback, and we need early feedback, and we need to be able to communicate better on these types of issues. Okay, let me finish with this question, kind of the question of that the President's Forum always comes back to, and that is, how will this benefit students?
Oh, well, it'll benefit students tremendously, I think. So I'll give you an example. We learned about 2 years ago that we were stereotyping our students way too narrowly. We had an opportunity to partner with an international school in Rome. And we said, oh, well, Excelsior students, average age is 35, they're adults, they've got families, they're not going to go to Rome for study abroad. But we said, well, let's ask them rather than assuming that that's the case. And we asked them, and sure enough, there's a subset that are now studying in Rome. Now, they don't go for a semester or a year, they go for 3 weeks. And sometimes they'll do 2-3 week terms. But it's those in-person experiences that I think are so impactful. And then in my previous career, I ran field study programs in the US, and they were modeled on a study abroad immersive experience. And so I think if we could build those immersive opportunities where students can take full advantage of online modalities for the didactic portions of their work, and then really have those, I'll call them clinical experiences, right? Those really in-person experiences that bring the curriculum to life for them, whatever the curriculum might be. That, to me, is good pedagogy and it's good education, and it really changes the nature of the student experience so students don't have to pick online or in person. They can actually get the best of both.
Right. Well, we are excited for this development at Excelsior, and true to the President's Forum spirit of collaboration and innovation, I think that this is a very worthy 2025 goal. We wish you all the best in pursuing, and we look forward to being a part of the simplification of the merger and acquisition process with the department and any other things that we can do to be supportive of this.
Thanks very much. It was a pleasure as always.